beautiful friends, how are we? I thought I would do an energy update. I appreciate it has been some time since I've shown up like this. I, like the rest of you, have had a really tumultuous year, I'm sure. The world is in quite a challenging place in many ways, and obviously that doesn't mean there isn't beautiful, wonderful, amazing things happening, but we are all facing some really difficult and challenging situations. And I just thought I'd share my own thoughts, feelings, and views on the full moon lunar eclipse that we are just having, almost like right now as I film this, in Pisces in September 2025. And to me, this is something that is going to become a catalyst for our change for the rest of this year. But also, it feels like leading up to the autumn equinox, which happens in like 2 weeks' time. This is a moment where we realize we have the opportunity to realize what it is that we want to let go of, what it is that we're ready to release. It doesn't mean that in this moment right now we have all the answers, but what eclipses tend to do, especially, we've got the beginning of this eclipse season. What eclipses tend to do is bring things forward, bring things out of our shadow, out of the darkness, into our light in a way that is unavoidable, unmistakable. And for me, the message that kept coming through with this one is that we have to stop running away from things about ourselves, about our situations, about our lives that we now have to face. It's time to confront them. And often these are hard truths within ourselves. Maybe it is the things that we want to experience. Maybe it's the things that we don't want to experience anymore. Maybe it's a level of life, of the way we're showing up, things that we just do not want to do anymore, or conversely, ways in which we've been limiting ourselves, keeping ourselves playing to a certain set of rules where we no longer want to play, we no longer want to do those things, because inside there is something else calling. There is an inner awakening. And I always say this, and I know repeatedly, if you watch these videos, it is very much that Nathis Kanas combination of energies. If we're looking at esoteric qualities of the runes, that aligns, that alights something, a need, a frustration, restriction, the things that we don't have, the emptiness, longing, lack, the yearning, all of those emotions that are highlighted by, that they typify the absence of something. And within ourselves, we then go, do you know what is it that we need? What is it that then that emotion, that energy, that experience is trying to bring to the center for me? Because the only power that we have truly to create change is to be really honest with ourselves and go, okay, what am I responsible for? Where can I make these changes? How can I do this? That is the power. Now, these messages are and have been for many years now this progression of self-discovery, self-awareness, and a call to deeper authenticity for me in a world that is ever increasingly becoming almost the guise of something real. There is so much that seems so real. We see it with influencer culture, we see it with AI and everything that now can be created instantly. And actually the human rebellion to that, the humanity that can be found within this version of Earth at this time of life that we're all living, is to go deeper into the authentic human self, the spiritual self, the self that goes beyond the human but is also part of the human experience right now. The two are inseparable. And I think it's healthy for me personally to use our human experiences to help us discern what it is that we need to work on in order to have a more expansive spiritual experience. But also the two, they kind of balance each other, they counteract each other, they're paradoxical sometimes, but also they work together. There's no separating them. So the deeper that we can understand the physical self, the human self, our pain, our suffering, we can actually transcend and alchemize that through our spiritual experience without bypassing it, by honoring the human experience and everything it's showing us. And that is the real, that is the raw, that is what is really happening to us as individuals. For me, that is manifesting as taking things at a slower pace. Now, that is not my natural preset. I'm sure you're aware of that. But to give you an example, I've horrendously twisted my ankle this week and sprained it coming down the stairs, and it has forced me to slow down. And in that forcing me to slow down, what have I had to do? I've had to sit in some of the discomfort that I've been avoiding, especially my own grief since losing my mum just nearly 2 months ago now. I've had to sit with some of those really difficult feelings, that it is far easier to stay busy and distracted than to sit and to feel and to face. And even though there is always space to do those things, it's really, really hard sometimes to just say, no, I've got to face this head on now, because it's never just that, especially with emotions like grief, and grief collectively that we are feeling around the planet right now for so many different reasons, whether that's war or conflict, whether it's to do with the changes that we're completely out of control of. You know, as an artist, perhaps it's seeing the way that certain types of AI are completely changing the way that we do things, or creatives are creating, you know, whatever it is. There comes this level of grief that tips and taps into our core wounding. And what that does is everything then that we've felt, it isn't just that one experience in the moment, but all of our experiences become into focus if we choose to stand and face them head on. That's really hard, but these emotions are going to come up anyway. Whether or not we decide to choose and face them is up to us. It doesn't mean that we face them all in one go. It doesn't mean that we process them and heal them all in one go. It is progressive. That's why these energies evolve, and have done for several years as we've been doing this work, especially since at the beginning of this decade. We are in the middle of this massive change, not just individually but collectively and as a planet. And this is asking us to really walk through the fire of who we are in some ways and find ourselves on the other side of it. And what that does, I mean, you know, from my artwork, fire is one of the most healing, transformative, transmutational energies that I like to work with, because yes, it can be destructive, but in the same ways, it burns away what is no longer part of us, what no longer needs to be a part of us, the stories that have been holding us back, the parts of us that have kept us playing small. And those are the bits that we have control over. It is the story, our past experiences, our past emotions that underlie them, that then discern the action that we take next. So we're being asked to look at that, to face that. And like I said, this isn't something that's going to happen instantly. This moment right now is probably bringing things to the surface, with all of this really heavy lunar energy tipping into our emotions and going, okay, this is the dam that I've built to hold back the deluge of what it is that is coming forward for me to feel. As always, we don't have to do this alone. We can do this with help. We can do this with support. We can do this in ways that are productive and healing. But it does feel like a tsunami of emotions that is just coming to wake us up, to bring us back to our physical bodies and help us feel again when perhaps we've been numbing out and disconnecting from certain things just to survive. And that's because life as a human is really, really heavy sometimes. And we can't always just escape that by defecting to the spiritual and saying, oh, it's okay because I am a spiritual being and I can transcend and bypass all of that. There is a balance to be had here. Both are important, both are valid. And honouring where we are in the moment, in the here and now, means being able to face what is coming up, recognizing that whatever is being triggered right now probably isn't just about the moment right now, but all of those things that have a similar story, that have become the underpinning story that has kept us stuck or living life within a certain set of rules or parameters that actually we don't want to live anymore, and actually we're ready to move through. Now, for me, one of the healthiest ways that I work through these emotions sometimes is through journaling, through writing, through just drawing, and just, you know, without purpose. Sometimes you just have to let it out. I did this for like two and a bit hours today, just wrote and wrote and wrote, and then finally you might see a pattern. You might see a repeating theme, a repeating thought, something that calls to you and says, actually, do you know what? No, I'm that's the thing. It's not about this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 situations. It's that thing. Whether it's a childhood wound, whether it's just a story we keep telling ourselves, it's that thing that's ready to be released. So the question now is, as I said at the beginning, what is it that we've been running away from? What truth of ourselves have we been running away from? Part of being human and being really authentic is not about living life in a world that presents itself as perfect, and we need to be the same presentation of perfection in order to be accepted or worthy or whole. It's about being able to own and wear our scars and be able to walk out into the world and say, okay, yes, I am all of this. This has all happened. I have done this, or I have experienced this, but I am also so much more. And the power that I have is in this moment and in what I'm going to do in order to transform, in order to go to this new place or do this new thing. And that's the power, that's the magic, that's the alchemy. It is in nothing else. So those are my thoughts on the energy. I'm going to leave this here for you. I'm going to try and do a collective reading soon with pick a card or some runes or something. And I will share that in a separate video. But I just wanted to send you all my love. I hope these energies are transformational and healing, but also be gentle with yourself as they unfold and feel the feelings. Do that with support if you need to. You know, this is a time where we're really being called to connect and reconnect with the people, places and experiences that matter the most to us in ways that might have felt really challenging for some time. And in all the ways that we have become disconnected from that human connection, that's one of the things that perhaps can be the most healing thing of all. So I'm going to send you all my love. I hope this assists you in some way, and I'll speak to you again really, really soon.